Hey, Browns fans, welcome to the Dawgland Podcast. I am your host, Anthony Jokey, Jackson McCurry. Alongside me, as always, have a lot to get into tonight with the one and only joint practice between the Cleveland Browns and Buffalo Bills today. But first, Jack, how we doing, man? Great to see you.
Good to see you too, brother. I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Doing good. Hello, Jeff in chat. Appreciate you joining in. Hey, Jake, great to see you as well. Yeah, he's absolutely right. If you put that comment up, hit that like button and subscribe. We are not twerking, though.
We're not going to twerk, though.
We're not twerking. We'll do the hot chip challenge. We're getting closer to 200 follows, so we got to hit that. Barking Browns has to hit 2,000, so go subscribe to their channel as well. But we're getting closer and closer to that milestone. Greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate everybody that has joined in. If you're in the chat now or watching the playback later on, thank you. Jack and I have been doing this going into our 10th season now, and it's been a lot of fun. And, we're glad to do a lot more YouTube content. It kind of took us a long time to get into this aspect of it. Hey, Matt, welcome on in. It took us a long time to get into this aspect of the podcast, but it's been a lot of fun ever since we started last year.
Yeah, for sure. Like you showed me our numbers over the last month, and it's really taken off. I know the subscriber count has exploded. A lot more viewers hopping in, whether it's our live streams or our shorts here and on TikTok. Like, our numbers are going up. We appreciate everybody in the Dog Pound for supporting us and continuing to do so. But like Anthony said, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Check out our past content over the last month, and let's keep it rolling.
Oh, goodness.
And it wouldn't be
your brother again.
Without my brother.
I will say he is very loyal about coming in every single show and talking about Will Howard, so I'll at least give him that. I'm glad that he's here every single time to bring it up, even though it is very unlikely that would ever happen for the Browns. So, all right. Like I said, we have a lot to get into today. The Browns and the Bills had the one and only joint practice. No major scuffles, unlike the Cowboys and Saints a couple days ago, which was pretty brutal. But there were a couple little minor pushing and shoving matches, but nothing too crazy. And when you are competing like they have been and against their own selves in training camp, when you finally get to go up against another team in practice, you can expect that intensity to kind of kick up a little bit. That was one thing that Deion Dawkins was talking about Jared Verse in his post-game press conference, with the media, and just the intensity that there was out there. You can really see it from the variety of clips that are out there from the practice. And I think that where we'll start, Jack, is that it seems like it was a great day for both of the offenses out there, which you would expect that from the Buffalo Bills offense with Josh Allen and everything that they've been able to accomplish, and the reigning MVP out there. But for the Browns, it's kind of been a struggle, and we've had those question marks. But for them to go out there and play well, it seems like, and I know there have been questions about the Bills' defense over the years, but you still got to go out there and do it. And it seems like the Browns were able to go out there today. I would say Watson outperformed Shador, which we'll get into that. But it seems like the offenses were able to win the day on both sides.
Yeah, it really looked like an offensive day for both sides. First of all, I just want to shout out Cleveland Browns Daily, because if anybody hasn't seen it,
That
every
was
day,
awesome.
oh my God, every day of training camp, they do a live stream before their actual radio show. Nathan, Bo, Andrew Siciliano, Joe Thomas hopped in today, Chris Rose hopped in today, but they're giving us live play-by-play of training camp. And it was so funny because I sent it to our friend of show, Kevin Mazzari, who covers the Buffalo Bills. I was like, hey, if you guys don't have anybody doing live coverage, here's our in-house radio team. They're doing live coverage. And he goes, they are amped up. And I'm like, yeah, that's how it's been all training camp. These guys are amped up. And I literally tweeted, I said, if they're this amped up for a training camp, imagine what a home playoff game would be like for those guys on the radio broadcast. It would be phenomenal. But going back to the offense, they set the tone early. Like Deshaun throwing an unbelievable ball to KC Concepcion. This week, Deshaun has aired it out more. I don't know if he's getting more comfortable or he's feeling more confident in letting it rip down the field. But the ball to KC, he did it twice. Phenomenal throws. Shador had some nice throws today. The offense was clicking. They did get down the field and score some touchdowns, even though a couple of Shadors were deemed not touchdowns. The tape says otherwise. I don't know what the officials were doing today. But in the Bills, I mean, we'll talk about the defense at some point, but we expected their offense to be good, and Josh Allen was doing Josh Allen things, probably the greatest quarterback to ever step foot on those Berea fields. But all in all, a good day's work for both offenses, and I think that's probably what Joe Brady and Todd Monken wanted to see.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a few comments here. Let's catch up on those. Let's start with Mac about Alex right there. No news yet. I'm sure we'll get more details probably tomorrow or maybe even later tonight. Those reports will start to come out of what happened to him in practice, but he was carted off today. No immobilizer based, there was other reports that had that, but based on the video, he was just taken off on the cart. We'll see what that was.
Cam Justice's video did not look promising. I don't know if you saw that, but
no, I did not see that one. I just saw the one of Dan Lobby that had him on the cart.
So real quick, it was a one-on-one rep against Spencer Brown, which I think is Buffalo's right tackle. It's their right tackle. He would planted his leg, and all of a sudden he just went down, which usually means an Achilles. Don't want to really speculate just because it could be that, but we don't know for sure. He was limping. Obviously, the trainers checked him, and then he was unfortunately carted off the field. I would say no news is good news, but usually things like this, you obviously have to get medical testing and everything. So hopefully we hear some good news, but it didn't look promising.
I think if it was something dire, we would have maybe heard that right away.
Yeah.
So hopefully, best case scenario, it's an ankle sprain or something.
Yeah.
To that effect. But we'll definitely have more details for you. So stay tuned there. Going down to Jeff, Cleveland Browns Daily, always great. I was listening on my way home, and I was thinking, I almost like Segura doing the play-by-play and Joe Thomas being the color guy, and it kind of gives you, that Jim Donovan, Doug Deacon feel a little bit. Obviously, Segura is not Jim Donovan, but I just had that more of a feel with the other two guys that they had with was it Bo Bishop and Chris Rose in the booth as well.
Yeah, and Siciliano, which I know a lot of people are indifferent on Siciliano. It's hard replacing a legend like Jim Donovan. I revert it to John Michael replacing Fred McLeod. it's no easy task replacing a legend.
No,
I feel
no.
bad for the guy who's got to replace Tom Hamilton one day,
Or
but
when John Michael had to replace Joe Tate
yeah.
on the
So
radio, so he's done it twice.
yeah, it's unfortunate, but Siciliano holds it down the best he can, and obviously he's got a lot of responsibilities in the media. So
This one made me laugh
it
from
did.
Brother Todd. This one you were talking, I was kind of chuckling when I saw that one. Yeah, we were on time today, which I said we were going to brag about that when we started the show, but I didn't do that. But yes, we were on time today, so you can shove it. All right.
Bring in James.
James
Hey, if he could still give us some reps, we need pass rushers right now. So
did you see the clip of him talking with Joe Hayden about KC?
no, not yet.
So they were talking about KC and how Concepcion was talking about how, if he is one-on-one with the corner, like he's beating them, 9 out of 10 times, like, those guys, if they weigh less than me, I'm beating them. Joe Hayden said, like, as a Browns fan, I love that. As a corner, you're talking crazy. So he had kind of both sides of it, but it's a good clip. You should go back and check that one out. All right. Both of the offense seem to do pretty well today. So where do you think we're sitting at here? We've kind of been thinking that, Watson's probably going to be the starting quarterback. And I think after what we saw this past Saturday and as well as today, I think he's pretty much all, locked that up unless something crazy happens. But I think that, going forward, at least for, first quarter of the season, he probably does have that starting job.
Yeah, I would tend to think so. I mean, we could say what we want about Deshaun Watson. He's been the leader in the clubhouse. We said this Tuesday night. He went out, had a good day. He did throw the interception, and it was a bad throw. It was a bad decision on Deshaun's part. And then he got to lead a 2-minute drill, or it was like a 5-minute situational drill. It was the last drill of practice, and he got him down to the 2-yard line. Granted, the majority of that was the running game, which we can talk about because they had a really good day. But, Deshaun.
He was even out throwing blocks on that too.
Yes, we can get to that with Rocket Sanders. But, yeah, it just makes sense right now that Deshaun's probably going to be named the starter next week. We'll see how Shador performs. It sounds like he's probably going to have the majority of the first team offense out there based on what Todd Monken said after practice. But it just seems like it's going to be Deshaun. We'll see what happens, obviously, either Sunday or Monday when they get back to practice following the Bills game. But, Deshaun made some really good throws and decisions out there today. The one bad one. And that's the one thing is he's got to shake off the mental aspect. If he has a turnover, he's got to shake it off at this point. Yes, you're trying to be perfect, obviously. In his case, final year of the contract, trying to salvage your football career after numerous devastating injuries, but you just got to go out there and be who he's been his whole career. Obviously, things haven't gone well in Cleveland, but we still know that like there is some talent still in there in Deshaun. He's just got to find that and try to put it all together for not just 4 quarters of a game, but for a whole season.
Yeah, we've talked about this, but let's make no qualms about it. Like, this is his last chance. If he is not able to do anything this season for the Browns, I don't foresee any other team taking a shot at him. So this is his last chance to, get it right. And, going into a contract year will, make players do crazy things. And, maybe the Browns could benefit from that. But from, what I've seen, I'm not surprised that he's kind of the leader at this point. It's not my preference of who I want out there. But, just based on, all the videos and stuff that we've seen last preseason game, he is the leader right now. And like I said, an unforeseen thing would have to happen for, Shador to be the starting quarterback. And I thought it was interesting that Monken said after the game today, I know Shador starting on Saturday, but he said some of the veteran guys probably won't play in that game. So who knows how much of the starting offensive line that he's going to have out there based on that comment. So I wouldn't expect guys like Zion Johnson and Elton Jenkins and Titus Howard. Like, I wouldn't expect those guys out there. So it makes you really wonder, like, what Shador is going to have out there on offense with him on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, he like you said, he said the veteran, so you automatically rule out Jerry Jeudy. I I kind of wonder if Zion Johnson goes out there, but like I would have to believe Elton Jenkins and Titus Howard, like you said. Those guys aren't going to play, so you're looking at probably Luke Whippler at center, um, maybe Austin Barber at right guard because he's been getting the reps there this week.
Maybe a Brailsford at center if he's healthy and ready to go.
Yeah, but I don't think he's practiced at all this week, so that's why I said Whippler, but we'll see. And then Dewan at right tackle, and then you're obviously gonna have your rookies out there at wide receiver. I would expect Fannin to practice or to play because he needs it. He hasn't been the
Well,
same guy. It feels like in training camp so far.
can we afford to put him out there with the state of the rest of the tight end room?
No, but he needs some reps based on what I've seen because it's just like he doesn't feel like the same player. Obviously, he's coming back from the groin injury that limited him in the spring. So I would imagine he'll play some, maybe a drive or two. Don't expect Quinshawn. Obviously, Munkin did mention he has a nagging injury. I wonder if that has to do with the contact he received from Aiden Huntington on Tuesday, which led to Munkin pulling the plug on practice early. But yeah, there's going to be a good amount of young talent out there for Shador. Obviously, the line isn't what you'd want it to be, but you're going to have Casey, you're going to have Denzel, Isaiah Bond, Dylan Sampson out there. Like
Rocket Sanders, probably.
Yeah, like those guys are going to be out there. Like Shador's just got to go out there and do his thing, and hopefully he puts on a show for the home crowd, and maybe he shows Todd Monken and the coaching staff like, hey, give me another chance to win this competition. And if he goes out and has a good performance, maybe this drags into the third preseason game against New England.
Yeah, and you would think like you're going to have the backups for the Bills out there to start the game. I don't see any of their starting defense playing on Saturday, so you would hope that Shador, if he's borderline starting, to be able to go out there and not turn the football over, make good decisions, find the open guys, manage the game as well as he can going against a second team offense or second team defense. If you believe, he's in the running to be a starting NFL quarterback, like that's what you would think with him being out there.
Yeah, I mean, if we go by what Todd Monken said, and that if him and Joe Brady saw what they needed to see, that starters weren't going to play. Obviously, it's a different situation for the Browns just because the array of young talent that is going to start for this team. Like they're going to get some reps, but I am curious to see if the Bills play anybody. But if it is just the backups, then you really hope Shador can go out, execute the offense, put up multiple scoring drives, at least move the ball up and down the field throughout that first half. If he wants any shot left to try to win this job.
Right. Let's talk about the defense because that seemed to be a struggle today for both teams.
Yeah.
But it seemed like, you mentioned Josh Allen probably being the best quarterback to step out onto that practice field. And you're probably right. Like, he is a very good quarterback and, one the Browns have been trying to find forever. And, lots of chunk plays today with the defense. I'm not sure if they were trying different things or playing things kind of – I don't think that they would play them vanilla in these type of practices. So you would tend to think that, the Bills offense is just going to be as explosive as it always has been with Josh Allen. So defense struggled mightily. The tight ends, Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid – for the Bills today, just eating up the Browns. And that's probably because, no Schlesinger out there is probably a big chunk of that. But, Browns defense absolutely struggled today.
Yeah, I mean, listening to the CBD broadcast, they were saying like the corners not named Tyson Campbell and Denzel Ward, they struggled today. Yeah, you mentioned like the tight ends having a big day for Buffalo. I know the one touchdown, I think it was Dalton Kincaid's. There was a communication breakdown between Ronnie Hickman and the linebackers. I think it was Quincy and Mascarenas Arnold.
Yeah, I did hear that one.
Yeah, like that was just a communication breakdown. We know that there's going to be different coverage packages and everything in Mike Rutenberg's defense, so it's not exactly the same as a Jim Schwartz type defense, even though the base is basically the same. Like this is where this is why we're in training camp. This is why we're trying to correct things. those communication breakdowns, there's still time to get those fixed. And you're going up against one of the best offenses in the league in Buffalo. They can hit you in a variety of ways on the outside as well as the inside, the running game as well, James Cook. So it was nice to see how our defense would stack up against one of the top offenses. Obviously, there still needs some work done. Good thing there's still a few weeks till the regular season, but you know, this was going to happen. We kind of expected it with Josh Allen. He's going to let it rip. He's got a ton of weapons on that offensive side of the ball, but I hearing that Campbell and Ward stacked up well against some of their top receivers. We talked about them going up against the likes of DJ Moore and Khalil Shakir. Didn't really hear their name at all today watching the clips and listening to the play-by-play on CBD. So that makes you feel good. But that middle of the defense, if Swessinger was out there, would it be different? Most likely. But you know that those things will get corrected here in the next few weeks.
And let's be honest, it is the preseason and it is just practice, but Josh Allen is probably going to be the best quarterback that we face all year. So if you are able to get this film and this feedback from this practice against, probably the best quarterback that you're going to go up against all year, this is only going to benefit you from now until the rest of the season.
Yeah, for sure. And, just like listening, not only about talking about Josh Allen, but you sent me the clip of Deion Dawkins talking up Jared Verse, talking about how great he was. Our media tried to have Deion give a comparison between Miles and Jared Verse, and he cut it off immediately. He goes, they're both two great pass rushers. They both do things differently. I will say that Deion was working Jared Verse pretty well in the one-on-one drills, and hopefully Jared will sit down, watch tape, and learn from this, because obviously he's going up against one of the best left tackles in the league and Deion Dawkins. But yeah, it was a good day for the Browns. And they showed that they somewhat belong. Todd Monken said it. He goes, we didn't look like we were that far off from Buffalo in terms of talent. Obviously they have the better quarterback, but they definitely competed and they fought hard. It wasn't like Buffalo just came in and ran roughshod on us.
In terms of, quote unquote, winning the practice, it's kind of one of those big things and that people pay attention to. In regards to that quote from Munkin there, Zach Jackson, who, we trust quite a bit, he said, Bills won to practice because there must be a winner, but Browns put forth a respectable effort. So definitely a positive thing, for the Browns to, go into this practice against one of the premier teams and all the NFL, have a good practice, test to see where they're at. Hopefully this is a sign of good things to come with how the offense played today, and hopefully not a sign of bad things to come with how the defense played today. But like I mentioned about going up against Josh Allen, great to get this feedback, of course.
Yeah, and Jeff just mentioned it. Deion Dawkins said Watson is still him. I don't know if he's the same that he was, 6 years ago in Houston when he had his last full, successful statistical year. But, I mean, he made some good throws today. You cannot deny that Deshaun didn't have a good day. Nathan Zagura said that was probably the best practice Deshaun has had as a Cleveland Brown, not even in just this training camp, but in every practice. Yeah, that was kind of eye-opening because he's been around for 4 years. Grant Delpit said in an interview last week that Deshaun was, putting up some good throws against the defense towards the end of last year when he was coming back from, or trying to come back from the Achilles injury. But yeah, Deshaun can still make some good throws. He's been making them all week. Would love to see it in a game environment. I know Saturday he'll be playing in the third quarter. It'll be against the second and third string of Buffalo. So maybe we see some solid throws out there. Maybe that'll build and boost his confidence. But yeah, Deshaun had a good day, and you can't deny it. Honestly,
I still don't buy that he's going to be out there in the third quarter. I still don't buy that they're going to stick him out there.
I wonder, because we saw Taylor Green reps today, and I did want to talk about that because he did have probably one of the best throws of the day. But the fact that he got some reps out there makes me wonder if Todd's going to alter the plan and we don't see him at all, and we see Gabriel and Green in the second half.
Yeah, there would be no point to putting Deshaun Watson out there in the third quarter with your second and third string offensive line, third and fourth string wide receivers, your third, fourth running back, your third, fourth tight ends that they barely have on this roster. Like, I don't know what you would gain from doing that.
I don't see it either. And Jeff he just said it too. He goes, it's not great at all. You got a guy coming off, he had the shoulder injury a couple years ago, then he had double Achilles injuries last year. Like, it just doesn't make sense to throw him out there behind that kind of offensive line. We'll see if all of a sudden they go, oh well, Dylan Gabriel is going to start the second half, then it's like it just all but seals it that Deshaun's going to be the starting quarterback, which we're all expecting at this point.
Yeah, I think like it's pretty. The writing's on the wall for that to happen, and Dirty Dog, totally agree with you. Like I see no point in throwing him out there, in a meaningless game, with your backups. So, look, I would enjoy seeing some Taylon Green. That throw he made today to Tylan Wallace was pretty awesome. So definitely another guy that's probably going to make the team. Yeah, exactly. And poor Dylan Gabriel, Shador, last week behind the second offensive line, like they really struggled. And Gabriel's running for his life back there. Shador really couldn't get anything going either with them. That depth is still a problem, which we'll talk more at a later time. Probably once we get close to the roster cut down and kind of see who might be available around the league. Tight end is another position. Edge with the injury that we had to Alex Wright today. Let's talk about that a little bit more. So, Alex Wright getting carted off today. The Browns have struck out in terms of finding a veteran edge rusher to join this team. First, it was AJ Epinesa. That contract fell through. Then it was Clowney, and then it was Darius Smith. Are they going to be able to find somebody that's out there, or is this going to be a trade, roster cut down, waiver wire? What are we thinking here?
I'm fascinated to see how this is all gonna shake out here.
On the bright side, Sam Kamara came back to practice today, so he is somebody that could fill both the edge room and defensive tackle room. So maybe there is a roster spot for him now, depending on his injury. But sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. I was trying to pull up the free agent available. I know you had it earlier.
Hold on, I'll find it really quickly.
Yeah, please do, and then you can screen share. But yeah, like we might be losing Alex Wright. Fingers crossed that it's just like a minor, like low ankle sprain or something, like something that could just not keep him out forever. Because right now you have Isaiah McGuire, you have Julian Okwara, you mentioned Sam Kamara. There's a UDFA that's been like he made some plays last week against Chicago, and CBD was talking about him. Okay, but yeah, they brought in, like you said, they brought in Clowney. He went to Houston. They brought in Zadarius Smith. It sounded like he was coming based on everything we had heard. And then
apparently Mary Kay blew that up.
yeah, Mary Kay messed up on that one. But this is the free agency available list. I see Jeff mentioned bringing in Joey Bosa. We've talked about that. It seems like he's probably waiting for a contender at this point. There was retirement rumors. I'm sure he's just trying to generate some interest. Hassan Reddick probably in the same boat. Leonard Floyd could be in the same boat.
Former Brown Tryon Shoyinka, maybe a return since they're familiar with him already.
The first stint wasn't very well, but I mean, we'll see. They brought in who was it? Tyus Bowser and Jannard Avery, former Brown. They brought those guys in for workouts. At this point, do you look in the trade market? I don't know exactly who is available or who would be available come cut down.
There's been a lot of talk about Kayvon Thibodeau, but that's something I don't see happening at all.
Yeah, because I feel like that's a trade and extension type guy, and you're going to have to pay Verse potentially in a year. So I'm fascinated to see what they're going to do here. Like you mentioned, Tryon Shoyinka, like he barely played. Kyle Van Noy, it's another guy that's probably looking at a contender. Derek Barnett's fascinating. Like he's 30. He played a third of the snaps last year in Houston. Obviously, they don't need him because they have Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, and now Jadeveon Clowney. So maybe Giad Ward as well. Like Jake, unfortunately, the Browns are not contenders.
No, no.
But yeah, I'm curious to see what's going to happen
And
here.
it's such a premium position too, where you're not going to find a valuable guy that gets cut unless it's for a crazy reason. Um, so I don't see a trade very likely either. You're just going to hopefully get a fourth and fifth rotational guy via roster cut down, and that's probably going to be the extent of it. Unless you can convince Hassan Reddick or Joey Bosa or one of these guys at the top of the list here to join your team, I don't really see any premier name, joining the rotation in the edge room.
Yeah, and I think I do believe Mary Kay that when she said like it was expected Za'Darius was going to sign, but with the Falcons' edge problems, obviously they lost Jalen Walker with an ACL injury. The other edge that got in trouble with the law and he's suspended. His name is escaping me, but he's getting more playing time and probably was going to get more money with Atlanta than he was with Cleveland because Atlanta's probably expecting him to be a big time contributor. So I don't fault Za'Darius for going there. I'm just ticked off that he chose them over us. But
and his former head coach
right
from when he was here.
Clearly, he liked Kevin Stefanski.
He was not one of the ones against them.
But Anthony, I wonder, like, if a team that needs a wide receiver I wonder if there's any way if they have an abundance of edge rushers, if they would consider if they have an extra edge, would they take Cedric Tillman in a swap or Cedric Tillman in a late round pick? Like, because Tillman didn't practice today. He stood on the sidelines. It makes me wonder if I know he's been kind of up and down with an injury throughout camp. Like, is there a potential trade there and to make something happen there for both sides?
Yeah, is there somebody who, Jadeveon Clowney bumped like a Dominique Robinson or Dylan Horton, Solomon Byrd? Those are three other edges besides Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, and Clowney over in Houston. So, I'm not sure if any of those guys would be, worth it trying to acquire them in a Jerry Jeudy trade. But for right now, I'm not sure what you would get for him. Maybe
you talking about Jeudy or Tillman?
Jeudy, maybe like a fourth round pick in one of those guys, a fifth round pick in one of those guys, maybe.
See, I don't know if you've watched the Browns' new documentary series, Wideouts, but
I have not. I've been meaning to watch it.
I will just tell this, and sorry if it's a spoiler alert to you and our listeners. I don't see the Browns trading Jerry Jeudy anytime soon. Maybe at the deadline if things aren't going the right way and the team needs a wide receiver. But the way Todd Monken and the other receivers in that room, especially the young guys, praised Jeudy for his veteran leadership and everything, I just don't see the Browns doing that. Now, obviously, Andrew Berry has made deals before that has, upset the roster and the locker room, but I don't see Jerry Jeudy going anywhere anytime soon unless a team comes in and blows them away with a trade offer, which if they do that, it makes complete sense. But Jeudy seems to be valuable to this team right now. And I think him not having to be the number one option in that wide receiver room, I think we could see a better Jerry Jeudy in 2026.
I think so as well. You get him more into his true position and being able to be that guy in the slot that can move around and do a variety of different things and, beat linebackers off the line of scrimmage. If they get matched up with that, I think it's going to benefit him and this offense as well. So if he's able to get back to more of his true self with Denzel Boston and Casey Concepcion playing well as rookies, then that's going to be wonderful for this offense as long as the quarterback can get him the football.
Yes, and Jerry Jeudy does have drop issues. No, it's not a conspiracy against Shedeur Sanders. I know that's running amok on social media. Shannon Sharp and Chad Johnson picked up on it as well. Yes, that was a terrible drop by Jerry Jeudy in practice yesterday. He was wide open. He should have hauled it in. There's no conspiracy theory going around. Can people stop that? Like,
I can't remember who said it today, but it was Mark Schlereth who said it looks like he has feet for hands.
Yeah, well, Mark Schlereth's always been like Jerry Jeudy's biggest critic outside of Steve Smith, so it's not surprising to see him chime in on something like that.
Well, with because he's still tied to Denver quite a bit. Does
Oh
he
yeah,
do the
I
media
think
out
he
there
does
still?
Denver radio out. Yeah. So,
Okay.
but he's always had an axe to grind with.
Todd Jake started that conspiracy. Probably not wrong. Sorry, Jake.
No.
I saw Cody is here. What's up,
Yes,
Cody?
Scarlet
That's
to the
another
land.
podcast to go check out as well. Doing great things, especially with Buckeye season starting up here soon. All right. So putting this this practice behind us today. That's what we're still doing. We're still practicing for the regular season
Yes.
on our show here. What do you want to see on Saturday?
Well, you mentioned it, like seeing Shador go out there and put together scoring drives, getting the ball up and down the field, taking care of the football, and just see what we saw last week with the first team offense. Having them get up and down the field, let the rookies get some touches. Dylan Sampson, who had, I think, him and Rocket Sanders, I think we'll see a lot. I thought they had a great day out there on practice. Dylan Sampson, I mean, if you're going to have a 1-2 punch at running back, I think Judkins and Sampson can be that. Rocket Sanders' run at the end of the practice today. It reminded me. I don't know if you remember the Jerome Ford run against Pittsburgh a couple years ago, where he
Yes.
went right and then he
Which
cut.
ironically, Deshaun Watson threw a block on as well.
Yes, because I'm listening to it because I was walking and I can just hear Zagura go, Deshaun's leading the way, and I'm like, is this Jerome Ford all over again? But
That was
I've
the Nick Chubb injury game.
yeah,
That was right after that.
that was a sad night for sure. But like, I want to see Dylan Sampson and Rocket Sanders, especially Sanders because I know him and Amani Marshall are fighting for that running back 3 spot. But yeah, just to see the offense continue to build on what they started in Chicago, the good week that they've had at practice, like see them continue to do that. Especially the Bills backups are out there, like just see some scoring drives and hopefully Shador can get into a good rhythm and get the home crowd fired up.
I don't know the answer to this question. Who is the Bills' backup quarterback? Because it's probably one of the most irrelevant positions in football, being behind Josh Allen.
I thought somebody said Kyle Allen today, which I think would be funny that both their quarterbacks are Allen. It is Kyle Allen, yes.
Okay,
So
all right.
I think Siciliano was talking about him because he was like a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, and obviously things haven't panned out. But yeah, and on the defensive side, you want to see them, try to limit the scoring drives. Obviously, we really hope we get to see Michael Coates out there again today or this weekend at corner. I know he's been dealing with injuries, but would love to see some of these corners break out and try to lock up some of them spots in the cornerback room. But and then hopefully Julian Aquara can continue to do his thing because if Alex Wright's out, this is his chance to make an NFL roster. He's been around the last couple of years and fortunately got cut, but yeah, just like to see the depth of the roster be a little bit better than it was last week against Chicago.
Yeah, and, I want to see the second, third string defense, make some stops this week because they were unable to stop the Chicago Bears at all last week. It seems like in that second half. So I want to see some of these younger guys on defense where we know that the depth is an issue with this team on defense. I want to see these guys step up and not put 30 or not allow 35 points to be put on the board.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the Buffalo Bills like offensive skill depth that they have. Like Frank Gore Jr. is out there at running back with Ray Davis, Josh Palmer, Skylar Bell, Trent Sherfield. We're going to see those guys plenty this weekend. So I'm anxious to see like how's our defense can be able to stop them. Like Kyle Allen, obviously he's been around the league a while, very experienced quarterback, but hopefully our defense doesn't make him look like the way that Case Keenum looked last week because he looked like vintage Case Keenum in terms of game managing and the way
it looked like Patrick Mahomes last week, to be completely honest.
God, it just that was really deflating just to see how much him, especially Case Keenum, because he's been in the league like 14 years and he still looks like he could start for an NFL team.
He's made a lot of money being a backup quarterback. One of the great things that he's been able to do in his career.
Without a doubt.
All right. Seems like we don't have any more questions in the chat. Do you have anything more for us before you get out of here?
Not that I can think of. This was a good episode recapping everything. We appreciate everybody listening as always, watching. Make sure you guys, hit that like button, hit the bell to know when we go live again, which we may go live this weekend after the game. We'll see, but thanks for all the support, guys. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. I did have one more thing, just one transaction from today. That was that the Browns signed tight end Drew Biber, I think is how you say that,
Yeah.
and placed tight end Jack Stoll on IR. That tight end position behind Harold Fannin is a mess at the moment. Hopefully, they can find somebody in roster cut down time, waiver wire. Matt, I combined both your names there. We appreciate you being here. Like I said, it's practice for us. And you and I know the trouble pronouncing names.
And Anthony, we had a tight end enter the transfer portal today too. I don't know if you saw that.
I did see that. That was
one of the most bizarre headlines I've ever seen affiliated with the Browns, and we've seen plenty over the years.
That was a new one. That's one of those like December and Berea headlines that you get, but it's starting early this year.
The curiosity I have with that whole thing, and if you guys didn't see it, Daquan Wright, who we claimed from the Eagles last week, he got a TRO in, I think, Louisiana courts to where he can go back to Ole Miss, but he's entering the transfer portal. I'm trying to figure out if the Browns will hold his rights, if they can put him on some kind of list and hold his rights once he's college eligibility is up. But I'm trying to figure that out. I know Bill Sparks had said the Browns were probably going to cut him anyways. So that's just interesting, trying to lock that one down.
Yeah, unless he was still under contract, because they don't have like a, injured reserve type thing for transfer portal. They don't have that yet, or like a reserve list for people that are going into the transfer portal. That's maybe something that'll come down in the next CBA that they talk about. So I would imagine that if they're going to cut him, then he'll just be free. And does he go back into the draft next year? Is that how that could work, or just go back and play?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, I know with the NBA, like the Cavs have the rights to a guy that was international and he's coming over to play at LSU. But when he's done at LSU, the Cavs still own his rights. So I don't know exactly how it works. But I would assume
definitely some uncharted waters happening.
But yes, I agree with you. That's going to be a conversation point for the next CBA for the NFL, because they're going to have to try to figure that out. And there was a running back on the list that was with the Browns at the beginning of camp, TJ Harden. He went to Seattle and now he's going back to college. So it's very curious how that's all going to unfold.
Yeah, like how is all this player movement going to work with being so close to the college football season? Like if you add one of these guys entering the transfer portal, does that mean you have to cut one of these other guys that you have on your roster scholarship wise? It's going to be a very bizarre thing over the next couple of weeks with all these players that get cut from NFL teams with roster cut downs. How many of them are going to try to go back and play college football for their fifth year if they still have it?
Such a mess. I'm glad that I don't have to be a decision maker in that regard.
And this is one of the things that, maybe the NCAA and NFL have to sit down together to figure out. Like, I don't know if there's going to be one overarching law, from one or the other. I think this is going to have to be a joint effort between both. And it seems like that's something that they haven't really worked on before other than, draft eligibility, but they're going to have to figure something out here.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense to me. And I know college players get paid, but once you sign an NFL contract and you're still under that contractual right, and this goes for the NBA too, because guys from the G League have gone back to play college basketball. How are you able to go back and play college sports? It doesn't make any sense to me. I know this has been a whole new world for us the last few years in that regard, but if you're already a professional and you're playing professional sports, I don't understand how you can go back and play college sports. It doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Are they getting around it because technically they don't have any service time in the league because the season hasn't started and they haven't played a game yet? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's rare air for us to Jake, to be determined. Okay,
5.
Insert
5. I'm
What's
sticking
under
5.5. I'm taking the under.
Okay, we'll see. We'll play the schedule game.
5 and 12,
roster
top 5
cutdowns.
pick in the draft. That's what my
Should
prediction is.
should I put out the scenario that I laid out to you the other night? And no, I was not drinking when I sent that to you about 11:30 in the evening.
Let's save that for when we do the schedule game.
Okay. All right. Yeah. We will save that one. All right. We are going to get on out of here. Be sure to give Jack a follow over on X at Jack McCurry08. Yep, right there. At Anthony Joki, JOKI. Again, right somewhere down here.
Yep, there you go.
All right. The Dawgland on Facebook, X, TikTok, all at the same handle, which is the Dawgland. We will be back potentially on Saturday, to be determined. We reserve the right to change our minds at a later date regarding that. We only have 2 more dates to change our minds, but we'll see. As always,